All right, let's dive into a real tragedy today. We're going to explore the story of Lyra Omokoto, a Green Lantern whose path is just this devastating look at what happens when even the strongest will gets shattered by grief, betrayal, and trauma.
You know, this one phrase, it's everything. It's the key to understanding who Lyra Omoto was. It speaks to her strength, her sharpness, her discipline, but also to something brittle, something that, under the wrong kind of pressure, can just shatter. It really sets the stage for the tragedy of her fall.
So, before everything fell apart, who exactly was Lyra? Well, in her prime, she was pretty much the ideal Lantern. Formidable, honorable, a true believer in the very order she swore to protect.
Okay, quick refresher just so we're all on the same page. The Green Lantern Corps isn't about how strong you are physically. It's all about the power of your will. A Lantern's ability to create constructs, to fight, to protect, it all flows from their inner resolve. And this is absolutely crucial because Lyra's will, it was considered top tier, one of the strongest in the Corps.
And this is what's so fascinating about her character. There's this constant tension. She has this incredible fire inside her, a ferocity that's almost unmatched. But it was all perfectly locked down by this ironclad discipline. And that wasn't just something she learned in training. It was her entire identity, forged by a really difficult past. She was, for all intents and purposes, a perfectly honed weapon.
But here's the thing about blades. Even the strongest ones have a breaking point. And for Lahara, the first cracks didn't come from some big cosmic enemy. No, the first blow came from within the Corps itself, a profound betrayal.
I mean, can you even imagine? The most legendary hero in your entire order, Hal Jordan, just turns on you. He doesn't just defeat you, he rips away your power, your identity, your very means of survival, and then leaves you and your mentor to just die in the cold, empty void of space. This was so much more than a defeat. It was a fundamental violation of her trust in everything.
And it didn't stop there. What followed were years of absolute horror. She became what they call a lost lantern. She was captured by those cold, mechanical manhunters and literally used as a living power source. Now, she was eventually rescued and got her ring back, but you just can't undo that kind of trauma. The damage was done.
This is the real damage, right? The psychological shift. The universe she had spent her life protecting. This place she saw as one of order and justice. It was revealed to be a lie. It was just a chaotic battlefield where even the brightest lights, the greatest heroes, could turn on you. Her entire worldview, the very foundation of her discipline, was completely fractured.
So now you have this scarred blade. It can still fight, but it's been weakened. So what happens when it gets struck again in that exact same spot? Well, that's the final break. This is the moment that pushes Lyra past any hope of recovery.
So she goes looking for some connection to her past, to her mentor, Kihan, maybe hoping to find some solace. Instead, she walks into an absolute nightmare. His entire family has been murdered, and the killer, Amon Sur, is just standing there, right in the middle of the ruins.
And this right here, this is the exact moment her discipline shatters. To the Corps, the law sees a prisoner who's surrendered. Standard procedure, right? Take him in for a trial. But Lyra isn't seeing a prisoner. She's looking at him through the lens of all her trauma and betrayal, and she sees the embodiment of everything that has destroyed her life. And Amon Sur's gloating, that was the final insult.
And that was it. Snap. The blade breaks. All the discipline, all the rules, all the honor. It was all gone, replaced by a single, decisive act of pure, unfiltered fury. She killed him. No trial, no justice, just vengeance.
Now, you can't just break the Corps' most sacred law and expect to walk away. The consequences were as swift as they were absolute. But for Lyra, this wasn't just a punishment. It was a complete and total transformation.
Just look at how quickly everything she had left is torn away from her. The Guardians of the Universe brand her a murderer. They take her ring, for the second time, and cast her out of the only family she's ever known. She is left utterly alone, stripped of everything that ever defined her. In that moment of total loss, when she's at her absolute lowest, a different power finds her. This is the turning point. The green light of will is gone, and in its place comes the red light of rage. A Red Lantern ring senses that hollow space where her honor and will used to be, and it fills that void completely with blood and fire.
And here we have the ultimate tragic irony of her story.
Her father's training was all about controlled, disciplined action, but her transformation into a Red Lantern is the complete subversion of that. She becomes a creature of pure, blind, animalistic instinct, the very thing she was trained her entire life to suppress.
As a Red Lantern, Lara was no longer herself. She was a beast of pure rage. But her story has one final, heartbreaking chapter that cements her as one of the great tragic figures of the Green Lantern Corps.
So, on the Red Lantern homeworld, in the heat of battle, something incredible happens. For just a split second, the real Lyra breaks through all that rage. She recognizes Hal Jordan, the man who first betrayed her, and she begs for help. The disciplined warrior is gone, replaced by a terrified person asking to be saved.
But the universe is rarely kind to the broken. That moment of clarity, that tiny sliver of hope for redemption, is extinguished instantly. Before anyone can get to her, she's killed by Sinestro. There's no heroic sacrifice, no redemption arc, just a sudden, cruel end.
And I think this is the ultimate takeaway from her story. In the end, was she a hero? Was she a villain? The truth is, she was neither. She was a casualty, a good soldier who was broken by trauma, by betrayal, and by a war that ended up consuming her from the inside out.
And all of this leaves us with a final, lingering question. When a hero breaks, who's really to blame? Is it the hero for breaking? The ones who betrayed her trust? Or is it the system that forged her into a blade in the first place, only to cast her aside when she finally snapped? It's a question with no easy answers.